Welcome everyone, and thank you for spending 30 minutes of your day with me. So we're here to talk about LinkedIn. And again, I appreciate you taking 30 minutes. Unfortunately, we won't have any time for questions, but feel free to follow up with me um, after this webinar. I'll share my contact information. But just through this, I just wanted to share a little bit about me. I served in the United States Navy, and with that, I got involved in sales and operations. And a lot of people ask me, well, how did you get involved with doing this LinkedIn training? Well, it all stemmed from getting laid off from corporate America in 2009. So with that, how I started my business was I started actually doing LinkedIn workshops 5 years ago out of my dining room table helping job seekers, which ended up evolving to me starting my own business doing this, but kind of took a little detour as I worked with LinkedIn for several years doing their global corporate event and meeting planning. So I worked a lot with CVBs doing event planning and meeting planning. So I'm very much attuned to what meeting planners do and use as far as with the CVBs, and I've had some great relationships with some of the CVBs I worked with doing meeting planning. Also, too, I have my own podcast, and coming up, I'll also have a similar podcast regarding some of the content that we're going to be talking about here today. And also, too, with me being a veteran, I also have my own nonprofit, Women Veterans Alliance, and also launched a book last year called Get Back to Work, with, of course, my longest chapter being about LinkedIn. So with that, as we look at LinkedIn, I put this infographic together a few months ago, and actually it's time to update it because LinkedIn, has added another 70 plus million people from when I put this together. But again, with LinkedIn, it's the #1 online professional network. With, as you see, 56% men, 44% women, which we're starting to see actually more women. So it'd be very interesting when I do put this together again if we'll see an increase in women. Also, too, the 77%, that's actually an age demographic looking at age 25 and older are on LinkedIn. So 77% are over the age of 25, with the middle, the 39 million are college students, largest growing demographic on LinkedIn. With over 4 million companies that have a company page on LinkedIn, a presence, which we'll talk about today. And the number on the left is 80,000. I've seen this number up to over 100,000, the average income of a person that's on LinkedIn. So, as we look at the numbers, I don't want to bore you with any additional numbers, as we know that, social media usage is, increased year over year, of course, in addition to mobile usage. But, there's good news in industry that we know more meetings are taking place, which is great. But how does someone find you and your destination? And with that, what does your online brand really look like? And LinkedIn should be a part of your toolkit, not just your company page, but also your individual pages. And a study that I read said over 83% of meeting planners are using LinkedIn to maintain and create business contacts. So what does that mean for you? So with that, I had asked that if anyone on this call, or if we weren't able to make the call, send me some questions. Because a lot of times, people say, okay, I'm on LinkedIn. How do I use this? What do I do? My people are on LinkedIn. I'm not on LinkedIn, or I'm on it. I just don't use it. So again, I appreciate all of you sending me in your questions. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pretty much go through the questions this time, and pretty much hopefully answer some of these that you may already have yourself. So one of the questions I get is, I don't have a budget for a social media person. Who should manage our LinkedIn account? And I got this question from a couple of people, of course, questioned a little bit different, but so just really quickly, so with LinkedIn, everyone knows that each person, you have your own personal profile. So when you log on, or the people on your team log on, they log on to their own personal profile. So the connections that they have, those are their own, that's their personal profile. Then there's a company page. So every organization should have a company page. As long as you have your own domain name, you can create a company page where you or people on your team can become administrator on this company page. You don't need to create a whole new login or a whole new account. You'll just become an administrator on there. And I always recommend to have 1 to 2 people on as your administrators. So, how many of you may look to other departments to start the page like, okay, we don't have a social media person. we look, to human resources, we look to sales, they should create the page and they create the content. But, really what the company page, it really should be a team collaboration. So I think, once you hear this, I think it'll make a little bit easier to really think about this whole managing your LinkedIn company page. So what I mean by the team collaboration is that you want to have specific departments involved. So let me give you an example. So I went to an organization to do a customized team training for their sales department. And I asked them if they can also bring in marketing, their recruiter, and the person who handles their social media. And they kind of gave me a funny look, like, okay, why do we need these other departments in there? Well, guess what? They all have great content that can be shared. And just remember that each employee at your organization is a brand ambassador of your organization. So, if you look at sales, the different reasons they can use LinkedIn, the marketing, because they're marketing your destination, your recruiter, they should be posting your jobs. And then if you do have the social media person, that way they don't have to come up with all the content. They could manage that. But a really key piece and a good tip, and this should also be used for your other social media platforms, is to create an editorial calendar as well as a content calendar. This makes it much easier when you already have content prepared that's coming from the different resources within your organization. So again, having that collaboration makes it a lot easier, and we'll share it in a few more minutes as far as really what some other ideas that can be shared. But again, recruiter, I mean, that's the easiest one, because the recruiter should also be using LinkedIn to find talent. But if you don't have a recruiter, or whomever is posting your job should be the one that's, whether they're posting the job or they're sending it to the social media person who will post those jobs on your company page. Again, you want to get that information out. And also, too, everything that I'm sharing with you is utilizing the free version. We'll talk a little bit about the paid, how you can do different advertising for your organization. So another question that I got, actually a couple of different questions, I just bundled them all into one, was your company page. And that's your business presence. And I was asked, how can we attract meeting planners and business professionals as followers, and ways that we can grow our organization versus our destination versus our individual promotion, and really what are impactful posts and how can we engage. So really, equally, if not more impactful, is to really have each of your employees have a complete LinkedIn profile. Remember that they're your brand ambassadors. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about having the personal profiles before I jump into the company page, because I truly believe that there's more impact there. And looking at the individuals on your team or your organizations, do they have a professional photo? Has their profile been spell checked? Are they linked to your organization? Meaning that when you go into their profile or your profile, does your organization's logo appear on their personal profile? Because what happens is, if it is, it's linked to your company page, and that way when someone clicks on it, it takes them directly to the company page. So really think about, what first impression do you want them to be giving? Is this person, credible, that they wanted, someone who comes to their page wants to do business with that person? Not only that person, do they want to do business with your organization? And also, too, does their profile, or even your profile, does it convey what you can do for me and why? So when a person comes to the profile, are they conveying actually what that person can do? And you really want to give that person that's coming to the personal profile a reason to do business with that person in your organization. And interesting, I had met with one company, and part of their new orientation is to make sure that each person has a LinkedIn profile, which I thought that was pretty cool. So that's part of their orientation, make sure everybody has LinkedIn profile, they're connected to the company, they've got a photo. And, just really remember that, people do business with people, and your team are on the front lines of that. So it's really important. I don't have a lot more time to go into more of the personal profile. That could literally be another 45 minutes on that. So let's go back to the company page. It's one of the more underutilized functions of LinkedIn. And so how many of you even have a company page, or you may not even know that you have a company page out there? And so I really want to, share some more tools that help you maximize your company page, because you want to be able to attract meeting planners as followers. So some ways that you can attract them is, again, you got to have content out there, which we'll get into, but also too, in other ways, once you create that company page, is putting this on your LinkedIn, on your email signature, having say follow us on LinkedIn, and that'll help increase your company page followers. And you can get a graphic to put on there, also too on your website. I'm sure a lot of you have your, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook, but also add, follow us on LinkedIn as well. So that way that can help get you more followers that way. And then there's, of course, other ways, and that's by having your content. So your organization to grow your destination versus individual promotion. And I actually think this is the same thing, because you want individuals, your brand ambassadors, to be able to help grow your destination, and really for them to promote it as well. So we're going to talk about too, as far as how individuals can help grow the visibility and the destination. And that, a lot of that just pretty much translates into the impactful posts. How often are you posting? Everything should be great content, impactful, and consistent. So it's just not, once a quarter, let's post something. It should be consistent. And that's where that editorial content calendar truly really comes into play if you think about these different posts. So, a lot of it is, okay, what type of content do you want to share? And again, that's where those different stakeholders come in: sales, marketing, your recruiter, human resources, and your social medias. What type of content can you share? Well, different things you can share. What about expansions in your city, new builds, new offerings? Maybe there's a huge expansion, not just an expansion, but expansion in sleeping rooms. So you've gone from this number to this number. Also, too, really promoting your city's major icons. All cities have major icons. How well are you promoting those icons? Also, two different nominations that have been, your city's been nominated, or maybe even some of your partners have been nominated, and even more so, the awards that, whether it's your CVB or your partners have won, and share that in your company updates as well there. And also too, when you're creating that editorial content, editorial in the content calendar, is making sure that you are also sharing with people the links to your other social media sites. So hey, Pinterest, that's a huge thing for CVBs. All CVBs should be on Pinterest. So sharing that to say, hey, follow us on Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, and doing the same thing on the other sites as well. So on Facebook, saying, hey, follow us on LinkedIn. So you want to have a lot of that cross promotion and that consistency too. And also, when you are sharing your consistent content, is making sure that you have visuals. So whether that is videos, photos, you want to have that. And another thing too is, if you send them back to your website. I notice a lot of CVBs have specific links on their sites for meeting planners, so share that. And one huge thing too is, I spoke at the Social Media and Tourism conference a couple weeks ago, and I was attending one of the breakouts by Plan Your Meetings, and they were sharing just some surveys that they'd done, and one of them was with administrative assistants, and we all know that a lot of administrative assistants plan meetings, even though that's not 100% part of their job. But a lot of them didn't even know what a CVB was, which I found to be very interesting. Or even more so, once they found out, why they should really work with the CVB. So I really feel too that utilizing your LinkedIn page for an educational resource, as far as why meeting planners or admin assistants should be using CVBs, because, and I know again from experience as a meeting planner, the CVBs, your knowledge of the area, you become a huge advocate. Sometimes there may be economic incentives for us to come and then go through the CVBs. Also, too, outstanding relationship with vendor partners that are in the city. So what a great way for you to be able to educate those utilizing your company page. And we'll also talk, too, about the personal page and how you can share updates with that, too. So again, it's really just also to really think about this as educational resource as well, and really thinking about, okay, how do I want this message conveyed? So pretty much all of that plus your job postings, that's a lot of content that you can be sharing about your location. And also to your employees on LinkedIn, they'll help increase the visibility of your communications that are shared via your company profile. And why is that? So one of the things is once a person lists your organization as their current employer, they automatically follow the company. So if you have, just say you have 50 employees on, and all of them are on LinkedIn, so you automatically have 50 followers to your organization. So what that means is every time you post something on your company page, the people that work for you or work with you, or they'll automatically get this on your news feed. So really think about how they can help increase the visibility, because they're going to be connected to people that aren't even followers of your organization. So that's another true way that you can help get more followers, and also too increasing the number of shares and likes and comments. So a lot of times employees will say, well, I don't know what to share. Well, guess what? If, as a company, if you're putting something out daily, here they have something each day that they can share to all their connections. And again, getting that brand visibility out there to more people on LinkedIn, and also too to your target market, because hopefully the people that whether it's your sales, your marketing, or your recruiters, or whomever that they're connected to, also too, it's going to really add a lot more value too, and really more of what your destination has to offer. So that's just kind of really that in a really very quick nutshell. So I wanted to just move along to another question I got is ways to advertise. It's like, okay, how can I advertise? So the first way, which I showed you, is I talked about your company page. Free, there's no cost. Again, having that consistency, making sure you have got visuals on there. And again, having your employees as they share your company updates. And another thing is to, when you do share and updates from employees, they can also do mentions. They can mention, or you can mention people or companies. So in a sense, it's like how Facebook is, where you can tag specific people, and that's what you can do on LinkedIn, is you can mention specific people or companies. So again, what a great way to be able to showcase your destination, as well as also your partners as well. Another thing are blog posts. So blog posts is different than share and update. So a blog post, so just to go back, so it's share and update, status update, that goes to the people that are connected to that person. The blog post, that could potentially go to all of the people connected on LinkedIn. There's a lot more visibility on the blog post. So some great examples, as I've been working with other organizations too, as well as government and some other CVBs and more so in the hospitality, is having whether it's anybody that's an influencer within your organization or your city. So maybe it's a CEO, maybe it's the mayor, or maybe it's other people that are known in your city. Have them blog. So what that means is, so maybe it's just once a week, it's a blog from an influencer. What it does is that blog post will go to all the people they're connected to. Then you can take that link and share it on your company page. So just think, I mean, the visibility that this blog post can have. And also too, with the company page as well as the blog post, there are, if you like analytics and data, there's some great analytical data that is shown on both the company page and the blog post. Groups, another thing too, if you haven't heard, LinkedIn has made some changes to groups. I won't have time to get into that, but is be involved in groups. So whether it's your destination starts your own group, also to join other groups. Think about where are your current clients, where are your prospects, being in those groups, but not only just lurking, but also adding content, adding value in there so people remember you and your destination. So just a key thing too is groups. Now there is also, of course, a paid component of LinkedIn, and you probably see it in your news feed, where you can do sponsored posts. So you'll see sometimes in your news feed it'll say sponsored. So you can do a sponsored post from your company page. So the key thing is you have to have a company page to do a sponsored post from. So just remember that when you are doing that. And of course, LinkedIn's a little bit pricier, but they really have a way for you to specifically target your specific market. So if you want to target, the meeting planners or the administrative assistants, maybe at specific types of companies or locations, you can really do that with the LinkedIn paid advertisement there. And there's also some other ways you can do some paid advertising. So just, remember these, different ways that you can advertise. So, with LinkedIn, I mean, again, I only have 30 minutes, and I mean, this is like only the tip of the iceberg of what LinkedIn can do for you. And as I mentioned, I was at the social media in tourism a couple weeks ago in New Orleans, and sharing with the other CVBs that attended just some different ways we can use LinkedIn. And I just wanted to share just some of the tweets that they shared from the session. And a lot of it's pretty much what I talked about here is about social is about collaboration with your whole team. So again, having that collaboration there. Also, too, making sure, not even just your sales team, but everyone is aware of, your editorial and your content calendars. It's two. It's an editorial calendar you start with, which then gets into your content calendar. And remember that everybody at your organization is your brand ambassador. So how they making sure that their profiles look good? I've had organizations bring in a photographer. I've done where we've gone into events and they've actually had a photographer brought in for their clients. So just kind of an added value so they can have that professional photo. And again, going back to the good-looking profiles, but also too making sure that they're linked back to your company page. And as I mentioned before, having your CEO or just anybody else, it doesn't even have to be influencer, just having employees do those updates and the blog posts, and then making sure you take that link and post that back to your company page. And also too, another thing that works well too is once you have that blog post, is take that link and post it onto your other sites. And that's what I do. I'll take my blog post, copy that link, go to, post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, Google Plus, whichever other platforms you use, and that way that'll send everybody back to your LinkedIn page. And another really cool thing too, I'm sure all of you should know this, that your LinkedIn profile is visible to anybody that doesn't have a LinkedIn account or is not even logged on to LinkedIn. So once you create a LinkedIn profile, you've created an online presence. And that's also too the same thing with a lot of the other functions, even the blog post. So you don't even have to have a LinkedIn account to review the blog post. So my dad's not even on LinkedIn, but he can read my blog posts on LinkedIn. I send him the link. So just think of the impact of the visibility this has to your destination, not only just in LinkedIn, but also outside of LinkedIn as well. So to pretty much wrap it up, because I just have a few minutes left here, is just really, 5 steps is really establish your presence. You got to attract those followers, and you got to engage. And another thing too with engagement is you can put out the greatest content, but also too you need somebody to be able to watch what's responded, because you want to respond. You want to have somebody respond, whether it's something good or bad. That way the people know when they are responding to something that you are having a response back. And amplify through your employees, amplify on other social media networks. And there's that analyze. So there's a lot of great data there that you're getting. And maybe you try something for a couple weeks and you're like, hey, this doesn't work. All right, let's go back and let's really refine this. Because it works, because we know that your target audience, they're on LinkedIn. So just a quick other little things I wanted to share with you too is, making sure to connect with meeting planners. It's not even just about even the connection part, but it's cultivating those relationships so you can really utilize LinkedIn to cultivate those relationships. And another thing too is no one should be making cold calls anymore. You should really leverage LinkedIn, and no one should, again, make those cold calls, because LinkedIn is a fantastic platform for you to be able to find out who you know or somebody that knows that person, or somebody within that organization that you're trying to look for. So with that, if you're looking to really leverage LinkedIn, a real source of, whether it's new business for your organization or, I really invite you to consider working with me. And, best place to start is a 15 to 20-minute call. We have different options of whether it's a one-on-one, I can work with you and your team, customized team training for your partners, which has been very well. One of the CVBs, I worked with them, their sales team, and a couple others that morning. And then that afternoon, they had a workshop set up for their different partners. So it worked out really well on that. So again, different ways to work there, and also too having, having another organization again brought in a photographer there. So just, ways to increase your destination value and showing that you do care, just not even just about your partners too, but also about the meeting planners that are coming in to your destination. So I wanted to share with you my contact information. Feel free to follow me on social media. So if you're ready to stop working so hard to figure out LinkedIn, let me help you. I've been on LinkedIn for 11 years as a member. I was an early adopter, so I really know how to utilize LinkedIn. So feel free to email me. Let me know a couple of times when you're available the next week. We'll set up some time to talk. And I'm happy to take the time with you. I've worked with visitors bureaus, hospitality industry, and I get where you're coming from. And I'm not a high-tech guru who speaks techie. I really understand your world, and I really teach LinkedIn in every day words for you. So again, if you want to know more, happy to set up some time with you. Again, I only had 30 minutes to give you something that could literally take a couple hours really to harness the power of LinkedIn. So again, I appreciate all of you taking 30 minutes out of your day to listen to me, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your time today. Take care. Bye-bye.